This conference will now be recorded.
So hyaline cartilage. How do we identify hyaline cartilage? By seeing the slide, it appears to our naked eye as a blue color cartilage. That blue color cartilage, we call it as we can identify as a hyaline cartilage. What are the basic points to identify the hyaline cartilage? So upper, this is the upper part, this is the lower part. Upper part and lower part, it contains fibrous perichondrium. So first basic point is it contains fibrous perichondrium. This is the fibrous perichondrium. This is the fibrous perichondrium. Outer fibrous perichondrium, inner fibrous perichondrium. Perichondrium contains two layers: outer fibrous layer, inner cellular layer. What are the two layers of perichondrium? Outer fibrous layer, inner cellular layer. The center part, this entire part, we call it as in the hyaline cartilage, hyalos means transparent. Why we are calling as hyaline cartilage means transparent cartilage. Center, it contains homogeneous transparent basophilic matrix. Our upper and lower cell perichondrium is present. In the center, homogeneous transparent basophilic matrix is seen. This entire part we call it as a matrix part. So within the homogeneous transparent basophilic matrix, it contains number of isogenous groups of chondrocytes. Number of isogenous groups of chondrocytes are present within the matrix part. So coming to the structure of the chondrocyte, you are able to see chondrocyte structure is 2 to 6 daughter cells. They are present in a space. That space we call it as lacunae. The daughter cells opposite surface is flat, or it appears like a D-shape appearance. 2 to 6 daughter cells present in a space. That space we call it as lacunae. The daughter cells, they are appears like a D-shape appearance. Each daughter cell is having centrally placed round nucleus. Cytoplasm contains cell organelles. Within the cell organelles part, it contains a large amount of glycogen and lipid droplets. The daughter cells, lacunae, they are surrounded by cell nest. The daughter cells and lacunae are surrounded by cell nest. So that's the structure of the chondrocytes. So here within the isogenous, in between the isogenous groups of chondrocytes, you are able, this part we call it as the matrix. When you come to the matrix part, they will ask what that two matrix present in the cartilage: territorial matrix, interterritorial matrix. Territorial matrix means see surrounding the cell nest. This is the cell nest part. Surrounding the cell nest, the deeply stained basophilic matrix is present. The deeply stained basophilic matrix surrounding the cell nest, we call it as the territorial matrix. In between the chondrocytes, the lightly stained basophilic matrix, we call it as interterritorial matrix. Territorial matrix contains large amount of chondroitin sulfate A and C. In the interterritorial matrix, it contains large number of collagen fibers. Within the matrix, we all know that chemical substances are present. So in the chemical substance, territorial matrix is having large amount of chondroitin sulfate A and C. Interterritorial matrix is having large number of collagen fibers. They may ask you a question in the discussion part: why you are not able to see collagen fibers in the interterritorial matrix? The refractive index of the collagen fibers and chemical substance present in the matrix. The refractive index of the chemical substance and collagen fibers present in the matrix is same. That's why we are not able to see a fibers, clear color appearance of the collagen fibers in the matrix in the part of the hyaline cartilage. So example of hyaline cartilage you are able to see costal cartilages. What we are seeing in the slide is the trachea section. So basic identification point is perichondrium is present, homogeneous, transparent, Basophilic matrix is seen. In the center, isogenous groups of chondrocytes are present. Irregularly they are arranged, and you are able to see tetramatrix and intertetramatrix. So they will ask you a question, how the nutrition of the cartilage takes place. The nutrition of a cartilage takes place with the help of the perichondrium. Okay, through perichondrium, the nutrition takes place. So that is about the hyaline cartilage. So a blue color cartilage with upper and lower perichondrium is present. Then we call it as the hyaline cartilage. Next one is the elastic cartilage. So in the elastic cartilage, here also you are able to see. Here also it contains, this is the perichondrium. This is the perichondrium. The perichondrium contains two layers. This outer fibrous layer, this inner cellular layer. This outer fibrous layer, this inner cellular layer. Here you are able to see eosinophilic matrix is seen. This entire part we call it as eosinophilic matrix. There you are able to see homogeneous, transparent, basophilic matrix. Here eosinophilic matrix is present. Here also in the center part of the matrix, number of isogenous groups of chondrocytes are present irregular. We are telling this cartilage as elastic cartilage. Why we are telling as elastic cartilage means, in the matrix it contains number of elastic fibers. The small thread-like structures are seen between the chondrocytes. Small thread-like structures are seen. That we call it as the elastic fibers. So elastic fibers are present in between the chondrocytes within the matrix part. Hence we call this cartilage as a elastic cartilage. So same structure is same as that of the hyaline cartilage. Only one difference is matrix is having elastic fibers are present. In the discussion of the elastic cartilage, they will ask you what the special stain used for the elastic fibers, or SIN, or aldehyde fusin part, or SIN or aldehyde fusin. We are using the special stain to see the elastic fibers. So this cartilage we call it as the elastic cartilage. So matrix is same, tetramatrix, intertetramatrix is also present here. Next, coming the third cartilage, we call it as the fibrous cartilage. So example of elastic cartilage is, the epiglottis. We are seeing the slide is epiglottis, pin of the external ear part, and eustachian tube also. Third cartilage is the fibrous cartilage. If you get one cartilage for the discussion part in the slides, they may ask you difference between all three cartilages. So in the white fibrous cartilage, first point is absence of the perichondrium. Absence of the perichondrium. Here you are able to see that this is the matrix part. Within the matrix, you are able to see number of bundles of collagen fibers. These all parallel like appearance are the bundles of collagen fibers. And the bundles of collagen fibers, they are present in a parallel direction. So matrix is having, along with the chemical substance, it contains number of collagen fibers or bundles of collagen fibers. The bundles of collagen fibers, they are present in parallel direction. In between the bundles of the collagen fibers, very few chondrocytes are seen. But in the case of hyaline cartilage, you are able to see the chondrocytes, they are present in groups and they are irregularly, they are arranged there. Here, you are able to see very few chondrocytes, and the chondrocytes, they are present in a linear appearance. So basic point to identify the fibrous cartilage is absence of perichondrium. Bundles of collagen fibers are present in the matrix. These bundles of collagen fibers, they are present in a parallel direction. In between the bundles of the collagen fibers, very few chondrocytes are present. And the few chondrocytes, they are present in a linear appearance. They are present in a linear appearance. So that is about the fibrous cartilage. Example of fibrous cartilage is intervertebral disc and pubic symphysis. The fibrous cartilage, we also call it as white fibrous cartilage. Why? Can anyone answer?
Because of collagen.
Refractive index.
Because of collagen fibers?
Refractive index.
Before staining, the collagen fibers, they appear to a naked eye as a white in color. That's why we call it as white fibrous cartilage. Same manner for the elastic fibers also. Before staining, elastic fibers appears to a naked eye as a yellow in color. So elastic cartilage, we used to call it as yellow elastic cartilage. Fibrous cartilage as white fibrous cartilage. Okay. So this is about the cartilage part. Next, coming to the bone. So we all know that bone, you are able to see two sections, compact bone, cancellous bone. The cancellous bone, you are able to see epiphysis region. In the compact bone, hard bone, near the shaft region, we are seeing the hard bone or compact bone. We are having the slides of the compact bone only. So in the compact bone part, you are able to see this part, we call it as the, what is this part? Periosteum and ostium. So to the periosteum and ostium part, when we are seeing, you are able to see in the bone transverse section, it contains number of circular structures are seen. Each circular shaped structure, this circular shaped structure, we call it as one osteon or one Haversian systems are present in the bone structure part or bone section, any transverse section or LS part. So number of circles are seen, each circular shaped structure, that we call it as the number of osteons or number of Haversian systems are present in the bone section part. Coming to one osteon or one Haversian system, it contains in the center Haversian canal is present. The black color shaded part, this we call it as the Haversian canal. So Haversian canal, it contains arteries, vein and the nerve fibers. Nerve fibers are present within the Haversian canal. Surrounding the Haversian canal, bone matrix is present in the form of concentric rings or concentric plates. That rings or plates, we call it as the lamellae. The bone matrix surrounding the Haversian canal, it forms a concentric rings or concentric plates. That rings or plates, we call it as the lamellae. And in between the lamellae, some almond-shaped spaces are present. These almond-shaped spaces, we call it as lacunae. The almond-shaped spaces are present. The almond-shaped spaces are lacunae. So within the lacunae part, you are able to see mature bone cell is present. That mature bone cell, we call it as the osteocytes. Mature bone cell is present, osteocyte is present within the lacunae. From the lacunae, you are able to see small fine canals are coming out. That fine canals, we call it as the canaliculi is present. See, one osteon is having, or one osteon Haversian system contains Haversian canal, lamellae, lacunae with canaliculi part. So what does the canaliculi contains? From the osteocyte, the protoplasmic process are coming into the lacunae part. The protoplasmic process of the osteocytes are present within the canaliculi. So in this way, number of Haversian systems are present within the bone transverse section. Each Haversian system contains Haversian canal, lamellae, lacunae with canalicular part. In between the osteon or Haversian system, see a small line, not full circle lamellae, a half circle lamellae is present. This half circle lamellae in between the Haversian system or in between the osteon, this we call it as the interstitial lamella. In the bone transfer section, one bony lamellae, second one is the interstitial lamellae is present in between the two Haversian systems. So that is about the bone transfer section. In the discussion, they will ask you what are the components of the bone, or the different type of cells you see in bone. I will go in a brief part. Different type of cells you see in bone are osteoprogenitor cells. First one is osteoprogenitor cells. Second one is osteoblast cells. Third one is osteocytes. Fourth one is osteoclast cells. So I study the cells and what the function applying for each cell appears. Next one, bone matrix. The bone matrix is present two components. What is organic component? Second one is inorganic components. So identify what are the contents present in the organic and inorganic components. And next one, they may ask you any other lamellae seen in the bone part. Yes, other lamellae are the circumferential lamellae. This is the periosteum part. This is the endosteum part. Near to the periosteum, vertical lamellae is seen with lacunae and canalicular part. Inner to the periosteum, the vertical lamellae with Haversian canal and lacunae part are seen. Sorry, with lacunae and canalicular part are present. That we call it as the external circumferential lamellae. Then near to the endosteum, inner to the endosteum part, the lamellae present vertically. This lamellae contains lacunae and canalicular part. This inner lamellae we call it as the internal circumferential lamellae. So that is about the circumferential lamellae are present within the bone section. This is the bone LS. In the bone LS part, you are able to see this is the periosteum, this is the endosteum. A vertical appearance is the Haversian canal. Number of darker spaces like structure, shaded like structures are seen. Lacunae with canalicular part. See here, you are able to see horizontally placed. This is the horizontally placed. This is the Haversian canal, a branching canal of the Haversian canal. We call it as the Volkmann's canal. So Volkmann's canal can be seen clearly in the bone LS part. So what is a Volkmann's canal means? You are able to see two Haversian canals are joined by a horizontal canal. Two Haversian canals are joined by a horizontal canal. That horizontal canal we call it as the Volkmann's canal. Or we call it the exterior canal from the Haversian canal. The exterior canal of the Haversian canal, we call it as the Volkmann's canal part. So here bone LS also contains Haversian systems. Along with the Haversian system, bone matrix, different type of cells present in the bone. Additionally, here you are able to see is the Volkmann's canal appearance. Okay, next coming the muscular tissue. In the muscular tissue, you all know that histologically it contains three types of muscle fibers: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, smooth muscle. So structurally, you are able to see striated muscle, non-striated muscle. In the striated muscle, skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle. In the non-striated muscle is the smooth muscle part. So now first we will come to the skeletal muscle part. So in the skeletal muscle fibers, you are able to see here, this is the one muscle fiber. This is one muscle fiber. Here the muscle fibers, they are present in a parallel direction. They are long cylindrical muscle fibers present in a parallel direction. This is the long cylindrical muscle fibers present in a parallel direction. And here within the skeletal muscle fiber, they contain oval-shaped flattened nucleus towards periphery. Main identification point is long cylindrical fibers present in a parallel direction. And the muscle fiber, we all know that it contains sarcolemma, sarcoplasm is present. So within the sarcoplasm part, number of cell organelles are seen. In that endoplasmic reticulum is present. That endoplasmic reticulum, we call it as sarcoplasmic reticulum. Here, you are able to see the shape of nucleus is oval shape, flattened nucleus towards periphery. Where it is present means it is present towards periphery. Multinucleate condition is seen in the skeletal muscle fiber. A number of cross striations are present. The cross striations are very close to each other. Main identification point is you have to identify multinucleate condition, oval-shaped flattened nucleus towards periphery. And this peripheral flattened nucleus, multinucleate condition is seen. The muscle fibers are present in a parallel direction. They are present in the form of long cylindrical appearance in a parallel direction. Number of cross striations are seen. The cross striations we call it as A band, I band. And read detail about that. What does the A band contains? What does the I band contains? Here you are able to see multinucleate condition is seen. That's the main identification feature. And you are able to see cross striations are very close to each other. No branching anastomosing is present in the skeletal muscle fiber. Next one, coming to the cardiac muscle fiber. Here the cardiac muscle, you are able to see the cardiac muscle fibers are present. Here also they are also striated appearance. One thing is, in the case of skeletal muscle fiber, we are seeing the nucleus is oval shaped, flattened nucleus towards periphery. Here, enlarged oval shaped nucleus in the center. Cardiac muscle is having enlarged oval shaped nucleus in the center part. Here you are able to see enlarged oval shaped nucleus in the center, and you are able to see branching and anastomosing is present in the cardiac muscle. Skeletal muscle does not contain branching and anastomosing. Cardiac muscle contains branching and anastomosing. Nucleus is centrally placed, enlarged oval shaped nucleus. Here also you are able to see striations are present, but not so clear as that of the skeletal muscle fiber. Here you are able to see somewhat far appearance, far apart of appearance of the actin and myosin filaments. That is the I band and A band cross striations. And next you are able to see here small black colored junctions are present. That we call it as the intercalated discs are present in the case of the cardiac. So when you are drawing the diagram, see you are able to draw branching and anastomosing, centrally placed enlarged oval-shaped nucleus. Intercalated discs are present between the two myocytes. What are intercalated discs means? In between the two myocytes, it forms a tight junction, a ladder-like formation. A ladder-like formation or zigzag manner-like formation between the two myocytes. So this part we call it as the intercalated discs are seen in the cardiac muscle. So most identification feature in the case of cardiac muscle is intercalated discs are present, branching and anastomosing is seen, enlarged oval-shaped nucleus centrally placed is seen. So where do we see in the cardiac muscle? Myocardium part. Next, a third muscle we call it as a smooth muscle. In all the parts of the viscera, we are seeing the muscle. That muscle we call it as the smooth muscle, or other name for the smooth muscle is plain muscle. Smooth muscle, involuntary muscle, plain muscle, all are similar. So how you are able to identify the smooth muscle means they are spindle shaped cells. This one is the spindle shaped cell with centrally placed round nucleus or oval shaped flattened nucleus. This is the oval shaped flattened nucleus are seen. Assume this is the spindle shaped cell with centrally placed oval shaped flattened nucleus are present. Here you are not able to see the cross striations clearly. No absence of the cross striations. So that's why we call it as non-striated muscle. Striations are not seen. So non-striated muscle we call it as. That's why we are calling as plain muscle. So this part, this slide we call it as a smooth muscle. So spindle shaped cells with tapering ends, Bowl-shaped flattened nucleus, centrally placed. So this part we call as smooth muscle part. So this is the longness section of the muscle fibers. They may ask you in the transverse section. In the transverse section, individual muscle fiber, it appears like a circular pattern. Individual muscle fiber with more than one flattened nucleus towards periphery. That we call a transverse section of the skeletal muscle fiber. Individual muscle fiber with centrally placed round nucleus, some granular cytoplasm is seen. That's the transverse section of the cardiac muscle. And individual muscle fiber with a centrally placed round nucleus, nothing, smooth cytoplasm is present. A smooth sarcoplasm is present. That because a transverse section of the smooth muscle. Individual muscle fiber is covered by little amount of connective tissue. That we call it as endomysium. Individual muscle fiber is covered by a little amount of connective tissue. That connective tissue we call it as the endomysium. A group of muscle fibers, we call it a fascicle. Fascicle is covered by little amount of connective tissue. We call it as perimysium. A number of bundles of the fascicles or entire muscle is covered by little amount of connective tissue. Starting part of the muscle which is covered with a little amount of connective tissue. That we call it as epimysium. Endomysium, individual muscle fiber is covered by little amount of connective tissue. That connective tissue we call it as endomysium. A group of muscle fibers we call it as fascicle. Fascicle is covered with a little amount of connective tissue. That we call it as the perimysium. Entire muscle, starting part of muscle is covered by little amount of connective tissue. That we call it as the epimysium. This is the transverse section of the muscle fibers. So in the discussion, they may ask you the transverse section of the muscle fibers: endomysium, perimysium, epimysium part. Okay, next coming to the lymphatic tissue. In the lymphatic tissue, you are having 4 organs. So lymphatic tissue is having 4 organs. First one is lymph node, spleen, thymus, tonsil part. Personally, lymph node, we all know that it contains a bean-shaped structure. When we are drawing a diagram, a part of section will be seen. Okay, so lymph node, spleen, thymus, tonsil part. In the lymph node, when you see in lymph node, it's a bean-shaped structure. It is covered with the 3 parts. What are the histological parts of lymph node means? Capsule, cortex, medulla. Basic things to identify the lymph node. Capsule, cortex, medulla is present in the lymph node part. So this part we call it a fibrous connective tissue capsule. Pink color shaded part is seen. So that we call it as a fibrous connective tissue capsule. It contains connective tissue fibers, some blood vessels, some fibroblast cells, some lymphocytes are present. So this is a fibrous connective tissue capsule. From the fibrous connective tissue capsule, the connective tissue enters into the node. That part we call it as a trabeculae. By the presence of trabeculae, it is divided into number of lobules. What is a lobule means? The part present between 2 trabeculae. The part present between 2 trabeculae, we call it as a lobule part. And below the capsule, subcapsular sinus is present. That is about the capsule part. Capsule, trabeculae, below the capsule, subcapsular sinus is present. So this entire part we call it as the cortex region. This entire part we call it the cortex region. What does the cortex contains? So within the cortex, number of lymphatic nodules are seen. These are all the lymphatic nodules. Number of lymphatic nodules are present. Number of lymphatic nodules are seen in the cortex part. Otherwise, we can tell in the cortex region, cortical nodules are seen. What is the arrangement of lymphocytes in the cortical nodules means? Center, lightly stained, loosely arranged, immature cells. Towards periphery, closely packed, deeply stained, mature cells. Center, we also call it as germinal center. Okay, so germinal center, the center part, towards periphery, closely packed, deeply stained, mature lymphocytes are seen. So the entire part, the circular shape structure, entire part, we call it as a lymphatic nodules. The center area, we call it as germinal center or reaction center. So in the center part, lymphoblast cells are present, plasma cells are seen. And background, you are able to see reticular fibers with reticulocytes. So that all present in the case of the germinal center. Why we are telling germinal center means these lymphoblast cells undergoes mitotic division and giving rise to mature lymphocytes. They will be migrating towards the periphery part. So that we call it the center area, lightly stained area, we call it as the germinal center. So number in the cortex region, it contains number of lymphatic nodules are present. So at the center, B lymphocytes are present. Towards rim also, you are able to see B lymphocytes. Towards the beside the rim part, T lymphocytes are present. So that is about the cortex region. Lowermost part, this part we call the medulla. Between the cortex and medulla, a small light part is present. This part we call it as the paracortex. This paracortex contains only T lymphocytes. Here no nodular arrangement or some grouply arranged T lymphocytes are present. So this part we call it as the paracortex. The part present between the cortex and medulla, we call it as paracortex. What does the paracortex contains means? It contains more number of T lymphocytes are present. Come in the medulla part. So in the medulla, group of lymphatic nodules are seen. So sorry, group of lymphocytes are present. This all group of lymphocytes, we call it as medullary cords. In the medulla part of lymph node, it contains medullary cords. Small gaps are present. Medullary sinus is present. Here and there, pink color shaded structures are seen. This is the cross section of trabeculae with blood vessels are seen. Medulla part is having cross section of trabeculae with blood vessels. Medullary sinus. Medullary cords are present in the medulla part of the lymph node. That's all about the lymph node part. Capsule, cortex, medulla. Capsule is fibrous connective tissue. Trabeculae is present. Subcapsular sinus is present. Cortex. Cortex contains number of lymphatic nodules are seen. In between the cortex and medulla, paracortex is present. Paracortex contains more number of T lymphocytes are seen. Medulla part. Medulla part is having medullary cords, medullary sinus, cross section of trabeculae blood vessels are seen. In the medullary cords, along with the lymphocytes, it also contains some macrophages part and plasma cells also. So that is about the lymph node part. So next slide is the spleen. So only lymph node is having both afferent lymph vessel and efferent lymph vessel. Afferent lymph vessel entered through the capsule. Efferent lymph vessel come out through the hilum part of the lymph node. So purification takes place in the lymph node part. Next one is the spleen section. How can you identify spleen section means? What are the parts of spleen? It also contains capsule, white pulp, red pulp. Spleen contains capsule, white pulp, red pulp is present. So capsule is having thin fibrous connective tissue capsule part. Very short trabeculae is present. Here you are able to see in the entire part of the spleen, it contains two parts. Our outer part is covered with the fibrous capsule. The center part, it contains white pulp and red pulp is present. So in the white pulp, so we are seeing the cortex part of the lymph node. It contains lymphatic nodules are seen there. Here, along with the lymphatic nodules, it is having eccentric place central artery or arterial part. That lymphatic nodule with eccentric place central artery or arteriole, that part we call it as the white pulp. What does the white pulp contain means? Lymphatic nodules with eccentrically placed central artery or arteriole. This part we call it as the white pulp. Remaining part in between the white pulp, this entire part we call it as the red pulp. So red pulp contains venous sinusoids with the RBC is present, and you are able to see splenic cords are present. Here and there some diffuse lymphocytes are present in between the venous sinusoids. So that we call it as splenic cords are seen in the red pulp. Along with that, it also contains some trabeculae with blood vessels are also seen in the red pulp part. When you get the spleen slide for the identification or discussion part, in the discussion they will ask you what type of circulation is seen in the red pulp, what type of circulation is seen in the white pulp. Can anyone answer? What type of circulation in the white pulp?
Closed circulation. Closed in
In the
white
white
pulp.
pulp contain closed type of circulation. In the red pulp,
Open type of
Open
circulation.
type.
open type of circulation. So when you're dealing with the open type of circulation, they will ask you what is ellipsoid, peninsula, ampulla. Read about that. So that is about the spleen part. Next one is the thymus gland. Here you are able to say a butterfly shaped structure. Entire thymus gland is a butterfly shaped structure or bilobe like structure appearance. Each lobe is having number of lobules. Each lobe is having number of lobules part, which are incomplete lobules or complete lobules. Here also you are able to see thymus gland contains capsule, cortex, medulla. Thymus gland is having capsule, cortex. So this is the fibrous connective tissue capsule part. From the capsule, this is a short trabeculae. This we call it as incomplete trabeculae. This is the complete trabeculae. This entire part is the complete trabeculae. This is the incomplete trabeculae. So we all know that the part present between two trabeculae, we call it as lobule. So within the lobule part here, you are able to see each lobule is having its own cortex and medulla. Here also cortex, medulla. Here also cortex, medulla. So here in the thymus gland, capsule, cortex, medulla is present. In each lobule part, thymus gland is having its own cortex and medulla is present. Here the cortex, it contains the lymphocytes from the cortex region, we call it as the T lymphocytes or thymocytes. Here in the thymus gland, no lymphatic nodule arrangement of lymphocytes. No lymphatic nodule arrangement of lymphocytes seen in the thymus gland. So cortex is having number of T lymphocytes are present. Medulla part also contains some T lymphocytes. Along with the T lymphocytes, the medulla part of the thymus gland, it contains other structure, we call it as the Husserl's corpuscles. Pink color stickers like appearance are seen in the medulla part. The pink color stickers, we call it as the Husserl's corpuscles. What are Husserl's corpuscles? Center pink color shaded part is seen. A hyaline mass of degenerated epithelial cells are surrounded by few epithelial cells which are going to degenerate. I'll repeat it again. What are Husserl's corpuscles means? A hyaline mass of degenerated epithelial cells are surrounded by few epithelial cells which are going to degenerate. This pink color mass structure, we call it as the Husserl's corpuscles. So medulla part is having number of Husserl's corpuscles are present. By seeing the Husserl's corpuscles in the medulla part, blindly we can identify that's the thymus gland. So thymus gland will produce some hormones, some thymolin proteins appearance. And next last slide of the lymphatic tissue is the palatine tonsils. Till now we had covered with the encapsulated lymphatic tissue. This is the non-encapsulated lymphatic tissue. So it is covered with a lining epithelium here. There it is covered with a fibrous connective tissue capsule, all the three structures. Here it is covered with a non-encapsulated lymphatic tissue, which is lined by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. In the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium part, we all know that basal columnar cells, middle polyhedral cells, upper squamous cells. Columnar cells, polyhedral cells, squamous cells are present. The lining epithelium we call it as stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium is present. Below the epithelium, some connective tissue is seen. Below that, you are able to see number of lymphatic nodules are present. And the epithelium is thrown into inward folds. That inward fold we call it as the tonsillar crypt. The epithelium is thrown into inward folds. That inward fold we call it as the tonsillar crypt. Below the tonsillar crypt, you are able to see group of mucocysnae are present. So below the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, you are able to see some mucocysnae are present. So the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium is also called as wet epithelium. Okay, below the crypt, you are able to see group of mucocysnae are present, and below the epithelium, number of lymphatic nodules are present. Here, no cortex medulla present in the case of the tonsil. Cortex medulla is present only in the lymph node and thymus gland. Spleen is having capsule, red pulp, white pulp. Tonsil is having lining epithelium, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, tonsillar crypt. Below the crypt, group of mucocysnae are present. Below the epithelium, number of lymphatic nodules are seen. And below that, you are able to see irregularly some connective tissue with some blood vessels are present. So lower part you are able to see which is covered with little amount of connective tissue, thin little amount of fibrous connective tissue part. So this is the differentiation between to identify the lymph node, spleen, thymus, and tonsil part. Next, coming the CVS. In the CVS, you are having 3 slides for the identification part: large artery, medium size artery, large vein. Any part of the blood vessel, all these 3 structures, you are able to see 3 layers. Innermost lining layer is the lumen part. Inner to the lumen, the first starting layer we call it as tunica intima. Middle layer we call it as tunica media. Outermost layer we call it as tunica adventitia. Tunica intima, tunica media, tunica adventitia. It contains any blood vessel, it contains 3 layers. Innermost layer we call it as tunica intima, middle layer we call it as tunica media, outermost layer called as the tunica adventitia. Remember, easy to remember: intima, media, adventitia. Again, intima is having 3 layers. Tunica intima, again it contains 3 layers. The first lining epithelium, the blood vessel, each blood vessel is lined by simple squamous epithelium. That lining epithelium in the blood vessel, we call it as endothelium. Below that, the supporting connective tissue is present. In this, more number of collagen fibers are seen, that we call it subendothelial connective tissue. The subendothelial connective tissue is separating the tunica media with the help of a membrane. This membrane we call it as internal elastic lamina. Tunica intima is having 3 layers: endothelium, which is lined by simple squamous epithelium; subendothelial connective tissue, which contains more number of collagen fibers. Below that, internal elastic lamina is present, which is made up of fenestrated elastic fibers. Internal elastic lamina is made up of fenestrated elastic fibers. Fenestrated with small gaps must be seen between the elastic fibers. So that we call it as a fenestrated elastic fiber. Internal elastic lamina, it acts like a membrane or a wall separating tunica intima and tunica media. So that is about the tunica intima, 3 layers. Coming to tunica media, depending upon the structure, we are able to see tunica media, what does it contains. Adventitia contains general connective tissue fibers. Within that, more number of collagen fibers are seen. And here, within the adventitia, it contains small blood vessels are seen. That blood vessels supplying the large blood vessels. The small blood vessels that are supplying the large blood vessels, we call it as vasa vasorum. The small blood vessels that are supplying the large blood vessel, we call it as vasa vasorum, are present in the tunica adventitia part. First one, when we see the large artery, in the large artery part, you are able to see tunica intima layer is seen. Intima layer, first layer we call it as endothelium, subendothelial connective tissue. This is the internal elastic lamina. Large amount of tunica media is present. This is the tunica media. This is the tunica intima layer. Large amount of tunica media is present, and the tunica media contains more number of elastic fibers. This is the elastic fibers. So more number of elastic fibers are present in the tunica media. That's why the large artery is also called as elastic artery. Example, we are seeing aorta, so it's also called as conducting artery. Other name for large artery is elastic artery, conducting artery. In the large artery, tunica media is more in amount, and the tunica media contains more number of elastic fibers. Remaining collagen fibers and smooth muscle fibers are less in number, with fibroblast cells are present in the tunica media part. And tunica adventitia, you are able to see tunica adventitia contains general connective tissue fibers. In that, collagen fibers are present with small blood vessels. That small blood vessels, we call it as the vasa vasorum. So this is the large artery part. Coming the medium sized artery, or we call it as muscular artery. So this is the lumen part. This is the tunica intima. This is the tunica media. This is the tunica adventitia. Here also medium sized artery also contains 3 layers common: tunica intima, tunica media, tunica adventitia. Again, intima is having 3 layers: endothelium, subendothelial connective tissue, internal elastic lamina. Here, tunica media contains, tunica media and tunica adventitia will be equal in number. Tunica media contains more number of smooth muscle fibers. That's why we call it as muscular artery. And tunica adventitia general connective tissue fibers with vasa vasorum are same. Here additionally, between the tunica media and tunica adventitia, external elastic lamina is present. Here you are able to see clearly. A small wavy line-like appearance are present. This wavy line-like appearance, we call it as the external elastic lamina is present only in the medium-sized artery or muscular artery. That is about the medium-sized artery or muscular artery. Coming to large vein. Large vein also contains 3 layers: tunica intima, tunica, this is the tunica intima layer, this is the tunica media layer. Large amount of tunica adventitia is seen here. In the large vein, it contains large amount of tunica adventitia. Intima layer also contains 3 layers common: endothelium, subendothelial connective tissue, internal elastic lamina. And little amount of tunica media, a thin layer of tunica intima and tunica media are present. Tunica media contains all 3 equal in number: collagen fibers, elastic fibers, some circular layers, smooth muscle fibers are present in the tunica media part, along with the fibroblast cells. Main identification feature in the large vein is large amount of tunica adventitia is present. In the tunica adventitia, large amount it is present. It contains bundles of longitudinal smooth muscle fibers are seen. See, pink color circles are seen, or pink color stone-like appearance are present. These are pink color stone-like structures, we call it as bundles of longitudinal smooth muscle fibers are present in the tunica adventitia point. In the tunica adventitia part, it contains bundles of longitudinal smooth muscle fibers are present. Tunica adventitia is more in amount. By seeing the bundles of the longitudinal smooth muscle fibers, you can infer that slide is the large vein slide. Next, coming to the last part is the nervous tissue. In the nervous, here they will ask you difference between the these three will be we are having the slides. They may ask you in the discussion part what is the difference between the large artery and the arteriole. In the arteriole, we can't see the three different layers. Intima, media, adventitia can't be seen clearly. So endothelium will be present, subendothelial connective tissue will be present, some internal elastic lamina may be seen, which is supported by large amount of muscle fibers. No differentiation of the media, adventitia, nothing part. So below surrounding the subendothelial connective tissue, which is supported by large amount of the smooth muscle fibers. No differentiation of three layers are seen in the arterioles. Coming to the sinusoids. Here in the sinusoids, they are endothelial cells are surrounded by some basal lamina. It's a connective tissue. Below the basal lamina, you are able to, which is supported by some pericytes. It acts like a muscle cell like apparatus, supporting cell like apparatus. And in the capillary, in the sinusoids, you are able to see three types of sinusoids are seen. Continuous sinusoids, fenestrated sinusoids, sinusoidal sinusoid. Okay, that is about the CVS part. Next, coming to the nerve fiber. In the nerve fiber, nervous tissue, we are seeing the slide is the peripheral nerve fiber, LS and TS. So in the peripheral nerve fiber part, we are seeing only the bundles of the axon. Only the bundles of the axons are seen. The center part, the light color shaded part is seen. The light color shaded part, we call it as the axon. Axon is in the form of axis cylinder. We all know that axon contains axolemma, exoplasm. In the exoplasm, it is having mitochondria, microtubules, cell organelles are seen. Myofilaments are also more in amount. That is about the axon part. Surrounding the axon, in the peripheral nerve fiber, the myelin sheet is this is the myelin sheet. In the peripheral nerve fiber, myelin sheet is formed from the Schwann shell. This is the nucleus of the Schwann shell. This is the nucleus of the Schwann shell. So this is the myelin sheet. Small gaps are seen between the myelin sheet. This we call it the nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier are present. And you are able to see continuous membrane, a continuous sheet-like appearance surrounding the entire part of the nerve fiber. That we call it as the neurilemma. So bundles of the axon parts of the nerve fibers are present in the peripheral nerve fiber. When you come for the transverse section, same manner. When you take one nerve fiber transverse section, individual nerve fiber is covered by little amount of connective tissue, endoneurium. A bundle of nerve fibers, which is covered by little amount of connective tissue, perineurium. Entire nerve is covered by little amount of connective tissue, epineurium. That's the transverse section of the peripheral nerve fiber. Come into spinal ganglia. You are able to within the spinal ganglion cells. You are able to see all the sensory ganglionic cells. So ganglionic cells are having centrally placed round nucleus. They are surrounded by some satellite cells. Here you are able to see in the sympathetic ganglion. In the sympathetic ganglionic cells, the cell bodies are the multipolar neurons. There you are able to see pseudo-unipolar neurons. Surrounding the cell bodies part, you are able to see the satellite cells. Here you are able to dispersely arranged. Here the satellite cells you are able to closely packed and they are arranged very deeply, very tightly packed appearance. Here the spinal ganglionic cells you are able to, they are very closely, tightly packed and they are present in groups. Here these ganglionic cells you are able to see they are dispersely arranged. In between that cells you are able to see neuron cells. Some neuroglial cells are present. So we all know that neuroglial cells are astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, microglia are present in the neuroglial cells. So they may ask me a 4-mark short notes of the neuroglial cells. Identify the structure of the cell and you are able to see function of each cell appearance. So that is about the different type of slides you are able to see in general histology part. So this is about the general histology slides part. Okay, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Ma, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.